It's about the strange times that we are going to talk today about opinions and many, many opinions. Um, when I was a child, I was born in the wrong family. I'm Brazilian, so the wrong family can be many things. One of the things is if you are born in a family that supports the wrong football team, and that's my case. So my family used to support one football team. I won't mention the name, but I used to be supportive of another one, which was basically a sin. And really, every time I tried to express my opinion, it didn't work. It really didn't work. But at that time, things were not bad. I mean, they used to make fun of me, basically. They didn't do anything bad to me at all. However, nowadays, things are very different. We have entire countries that are split in two or three pieces. In Colombia, we had just now elections, presidential elections, and again, the country was split in two. And the person who won the election, I mean, he has a tough path on ahead of him because the other side is very strong. In Brazil, my country, I have to vote now, beginning of the next month. And again, the country is split basically in two or three pieces. And the whole world, we are seeing this, it's like a phenomenon that's happening everywhere. Excuse me. And the thing is, we are a society, we are living beings. We are people who live with people who are so different than us. And that's wonderful. That's how we enrich ourselves because they are different. So I can learn, I can grow. I can get a little piece of their difference into my own life. And I can give them a little piece of my own difference to their lives. But nowadays, the world is in a kind of polarization, and the opinions, they turn into weapons. The opinions, they turn into shields. The opinions start to become like shelters. And people, they are fighting, literally fighting, because of an idea. And sometimes the idea is so difficult to grasp. I just give an example of one person who is supported by a certain type of people who is using the ideas of another person who is supported by the opposite side of people. So he's using those ideas because they are good. Or at least he thinks they are good. So his people, they think he's the one who owns the idea. And the other side is against the idea. They don't even remember their own person one day gave that opinion, that idea. That's crazy. I mean, nobody can identify whatever is going on, whatever is happening in the world clearly. So what to do? You can do one thing. Don't have opinions anymore. Yeah, I mean, I'm a Capricornian. Normally, Capricornians, we don't have much opinion. At least that's my opinion. I mean, we are quite pragmatic, so we go via data and deeds and practical, physical things. And we see the sky, if it's blue, we say it's blue. If it's cold, we say it's cold. And that's it. We don't elaborate, we don't imagine, we don't fantasize. That's one possibility. The problem with that is whatever I said now, it was my opinion. Really, it's very difficult to be hard, It's very good, it's very difficult to be nowadays very into the facts because even facts can change. I manage a different language, so I follow news from different languages. So one day, there was some news here in Colombia and Latin America in general in Spanish. And they are talking about something that happened in Brazil. Well, I'm Brazilian. I read the news and I said, it doesn't look Brazilian, this. I mean, these people here, they don't look Brazilian. At least they don't look like the people from that city. So I went to check in the Brazilian news. Oh, it was so different. There was some mistake in the translation. There was some error in the interpretation. And they changed the news completely. So for the Spanish speakers, those were the facts, because that was the source they had. They didn't have any other source. So they didn't have a way to really know which the facts are. And that's the reality nowadays. We are being literally bombarded by bombs of information. There are information that comes from one side, from another side, from another side. There are information that are red, blue, green. So much information that you don't have the time to research and reach a conclusion. This is the right information. This is the wrong one. So it's very hard to not have opinion nowadays, because even when you are following the truth or the reality of facts, that can be an opinion and you don't even know. That can be something which is not true, or at least it was not well interpreted. The second possibility we have is, and that's what most people in the world are doing now, is to find their own tribe. That means to find the people who think like me. So we think in the same way, politically, socially, economically, football. Yeah, so I look for people who likes the same team I like. So we start to segregate ourselves into small groups of people. The thing is, reality doesn't work also in that way. You have to go to your work, and many times you cannot choose. You cannot put a board in the door saying only people who support this team, football team, can enter and can work here. You can't do that. Well, you can if you are the owner of the company, but it's not nice, right? And it won't work well. You won't have the quality in terms of your work. Maybe in your own family. You cannot segregate, because in one house, you can have two people on one side, two other people on another side, and two other people on the other side. And so they don't talk among themselves. They just talk among the small two people groups. Nah, it doesn't work. But that's what people are doing more and more. So our civilization, instead of joining and getting together, that was the whole idea behind the internet. We are separating, we are splitting, we are trying to keep distance, we are protecting ourselves, or trying to protect ourselves from those who are different than us, who don't share the same ideas, the same mentality. It doesn't work, but it's happening. And I can see it very, very clearly. I can see how people, they are separated themselves into small groups of people. And they try to be happy, to be very happy within that limitation, that boundary. But again, life doesn't work in that way. You have to go to work. Again, you meet people who are different. You have to travel. You have to commute to your work. You have to just walk around your neighborhood. And you find so many people who are different than you. They think differently. They dress differently. They have different tastes, professions. They are so much in the other side of what you are. So segregation doesn't work much. So there is a third way, and the third way is to find a way of communicating. So I'm going to show you a video, and I hope you enjoy. Probably you have seen this video. In fact, it's a little oldish, but it has such a good message, and it's very short, which shows two people having some clash. It's physically showed, but the idea behind is the opinions of everyone. So just sit down, relax. You're not there WhatsApping anyone, right? You are not. Okay? So just relax this video. It's nice. I mean, it's fun, and people they enjoy it. So after the video, I'll ask a few questions. You cannot respond there, but if you want to ask questions also, you can, and then we can somehow understand each other. Enjoy the video. So I hope you have enjoyed the video, and it works very well in terms of how opinions are happening now. So nowadays, many people they are like the bear and the moose. There, I don't know if there is another word for that in UK, but so they both are fighting, both are defending their own right to give an opinion. Both they have their own opinion, and their opinion are the right one. I mean, my opinion is the correct one, really. And you are wrong. And that's the reality. Then two other guys come, and they are not supportive of either of us. They just want to enjoy life. And the way they deal with opinions is a little different. One renounces something, the other one uses their own specialty, and this way they can move around. And that's the trick in terms of opinion. First of all, if you are living in a multicultural environment, or if you have to share space with people who don't agree with your ideas, your dreams, then you, instead of fighting and defending that, you can always find, first of all, a common thread, a common terrain, a common way of doing things. That's the bridge. You can always find a bridge between any person. There is always something we share. It doesn't matter the color of the skin, the gender, there is always something we can share and we have in common. And if you go through that side, through that part, then what will happen is that you gave a step further in terms of a good communication. One of the stories I like mostly, and it's from the Queen, and as far as I know, it was a person who was working in the palace, and this person was talking about the Queen received a guest one day, and they were having a dinner or lunch. There, they were sitting there, and there was a little vase on the table, and I guess there were no flowers on the vase, just the water. So the guest thought that was to serve a water, a pitcher for water. So he filled his glass with that water and drank from it. And the Queen, she didn't hesitate. She took the same vase and she also filled her glass and she also drank from it. And that's the first thing you can do. There is always something that we are sharing together. We are sitting together. And it's very small thing. What's the problem? The other person made a mistake. What's the problem of supporting that person? Let me support at least in that area. Maybe we don't agree in those areas, but we can always find a common ground, a table for dinner in which we can be okay and we can share something good. The second thing you can do is that you can renounce, you can give up some of your opinions and your ideas. And you know, I know it's not that easy, but just think about how much. You can think about money or you can think about in terms of weight. How much does that idea really matter? How much? Is that idea more important than talking to this person who is just beside you? What's the most important thing here? Because many times we just forget the reality around us, the people around us. We forget that our opinions and ideas, they will change. Things change, situations change, but those people around you, around me, they will be there. And I can give up some small opinions if those things, they hurt other people. Because at that moment, the most important thing in my life is to have that other person in my life. And it sounds strange for some to give up on that idea, on those fancy and marvelous thoughts we all have, philosophy. We took a long time to think about that, to understand the reality, and we come with that, and the other person doesn't like it. It's so weird, so weird. But again, what's the most important thing is that person. I have seen many people. One person once called me, and her sister just passed away, her elder sister, and she was crushed. She was destroyed. She was crying. She was broken internally. And there was nothing really physically speaking, nothing there. It was not money. It was nothing physical. It was just a question of a clash of ideas and opinions. Her elder sister, She had few opinions that she didn't agree, so she stopped talking to her for many years, in fact, until the other one passed away and she was left brokenhearted. And just because of ideas, again, they are just words. And if you change the language, the words change, the meanings change. Many times, something that's so good in one word, in one language, is very bad in another one. I see with names. There are some names, they are very nice in Spanish, and the same name in Brazil, we laugh at it. So it's just a question of a little word, some letters. So the person is the most important thing. And probably that requires, instead of give up, you can think about getting more from this relationship you have with other people. It's a question of enriching each other and making the other people great, because we are all great people, right? You are great. I know I can't see you, unfortunately. This is the system and way of working, so I'm trying to see you. I can't, but I know you are great. I know that because only great people only great people are looking for improving their own lives, and that's the reason there is this space here this time, because we want to improve our lives together. So instead of giving up, think that you are getting something much, much better. And maybe one day that person will say, you know what, you are right all the time. Come on. Or you know what, that idea you had was so good. Your opinion, that was the good one. You don't know. You can write the opinion. That's a tip. You can put somewhere. Nowadays with the internet, you can schedule. Now you can send an email, scheduled email to yourself in 1 year and see what's going on with that opinion again. But by now, give the importance on the other person. Give the importance on that person who is great. He or she, they are really, really great. And the last thing you can do is explore more your specialties. Specialty is, well, I believe everyone is great because I believe everyone is special. Everyone has at least one specialty, maybe in their work, maybe in their life, maybe they are artists, or maybe they know how to speak well, how to cook well, how to manage things well. Everyone has a specialty. And what I believe is that in life, we are together not by chance. Of course, according to what we learn in Brahma Kumaris and in many philosophy paths, we are together because of karmic accounts. Yeah, that's a reality maybe. But you can always think that we are together because each one of us have a different specialty. They have a different, something so great, so wonderful, they have to share with the other people around them. Dadi Janki, who was our director of Brahma Kumaris, and she was the director of Brahma Kumaris for many, many years for the countries outside India. She was living in London. She used to give the example of the hand, and how each finger is different, totally different. Each finger, they have different tasks. And I'm sure that if you miss one finger, you really miss it. They are all important. Even so, you don't give much work for that finger, it doesn't matter. They are all important. In terms of communication, teamwork, families, neighborhood, countries, each one of us, we are a finger supporting the other one with our specialty. And what I know to do how to do, I'm sure that Artie, who is in London, she doesn't know how to do. And I'm perfectly sure that whatever she knows how to do well and she's special, I am not. So that's why we can learn. We can learn so many things together. That's the beauty of being an organization like Brahma Kumaris or other organizations, where you meet people who come from different backgrounds and they look at the situation, they look at their reality, and each one give a different opinion. And their opinions, they are not wrong, even so they are totally different one from each other. They're not wrong. The sum of all the opinions will create the most beautiful energy you could get. Think about that. Think a while. Think for a while about how your specialties will complement, enrich other people's lives, and how their specialties will complement and enrich your life. And opinions, ideas, is that invisible bridge that will cross between human beings and will transfer the energy from one person to the other and to the whole. Think about it. And you know, there's something funny about that. Many years ago, I was in Oxford, in fact, there in the UK, there was a program happening, and someone mentioned a book, and they gave me the book. Of course, I gave someone else, so I lost it. And in that book, they were mentioning a story. And it seems it's a factual story. I didn't have the time to research because I lost the book, so I don't remember the details. But the story was that someone was trying to give a prize to people. So the idea is that they had an animal on a platform, let's say a calf, a little cow. So they were asking, what's the weight of that calf? So each person was giving a number. And someone started to note down all the opinions, all the numbers they were giving. And that person who noted down, they did something interesting. They summed up all the numbers and they took the average. So they divide by the number of people. And you know the funny thing, the result was exactly the weight of that little cow. So all the opinions together, they are not right by themselves. But when you sum up all of them and all of us work on those, they will be right. They will be the right thing. And you can see in the word so many times, so many times. You ask about the idea of God. Who is God? So each person will give a different idea, different example. If you sum up all of them and you involve yourself, engage yourself in that, you'll probably reach a solution that's probably closer to what God is, instead of the individual opinions. It's the sum that's right and the average that will be right. So that's something you can do. Check your own specialties. In fact, I think most people, they fight for their opinion because they don't feel they are very special. I really had a test few months ago. A friend from United States was traveling here. So we are in a car with a driver who was quite stubborn. So I told him, let's go to the left, and he insisted, and we went to the right. You missed the exit. Oh no, there is another exit better. Finally, we kind of lost half an hour just in that game. But before losing that half an hour, I realized I couldn't fight with him. I can't fight. And then I thought, is that too bad? If we lose half an hour, if we waste half an hour, I mean, they are tourists. They are watching the city, so they are not losing anything, you know. And we went to supermarket here. They couldn't leave the supermarket. They were fascinated by the Colombian products. So, in fact, we stayed in the supermarket like 1 hour. So that half an hour, it's so small. Let him be happy and content. And after a while, he asked me my opinion. And so I took the GPS and I helped with the GPS to find the right route. And it was an interesting experiment for me. He had a, he had a very clear skill and specialty. In terms of driving, he was very good. But he's not good in terms of direction, So I was okay. So I could help that. I could support him. And they got a free tour, my friend. So, try it next time. Next time you start to have some fight, now with the World Cup's coming, so people start to work, and I know UK, you have so many nationalities, so I guess many nationalities will be there in the World Cup, and they are there living beside you. So there will be some problems there. So try to use your own specialty and try to see the other person's specialty. Because when we start to do that, the world really can change. I do believe the world will change for better. Right now, things, they look green. They look kind of bleak. And things don't look they are going to get better any soon. But, but when we start communicate in a different level, we start to create bridges. Such a bridge that scene you saw in the video, you won't see anymore. That can happen one day, but it has to start from you, from me. It has to start from those of us. Just today I was walking and there was a lady coming with their little dog. It was a dog this size. I mean, she could even launch the dog on the air, you know. And I was in the same path. The same path was very narrow. What I did, I just went back a little bit. I mean, it's 1 minute. That's it. And she thanked me. She smiled, I think because she had a mask, but I guess. So I felt nice because I was helping the little dog, of course, and the lady. And everything was okay. So I gave up. I enriched myself. I used my specialty. I can wait a little more. And that person thanked me, and that touched my heart. So think about that. Because otherwise we are breaking in so many fragments, so many fragments. And there will be one day that you just cross a bridge, cross a river, and you are in a place which is foreign to you. And the beautiful thing we saw a few years ago, it was happening everywhere in the world, is that the world was open to everyone. And we could go, many of us at least, we could go anywhere. And you felt at home. You felt, wow, this is my place. So let's work more on those things to improve the idea. And of course, when you do that, you are manifesting your opinion in a positive way. You start to talk in a different way. I know many people will talk about assertiveness and all those things, and I work like that. I am a business consultant. I like assertiveness. I think I'm quite assertive person, but I do feel at this moment, in this environment we are living now, instead of assertiveness, let's work on enrich ourselves from each other's wealth. And there is a final tale, a little short story on the topic of communication. And that story talks about a woman, and she was married, and she was living with her mother-in-law, who was very, very much annoying. She was, in fact, abusive in relation to her daughter-in-law, and she couldn't stand anymore. She was suffering so much. So one day there was a special doctor in the neighborhood, and she went to the doctor to see something, her body. And the doctor, he found some signs of stress in her. So the doctor started to ask, what's happening? What's going on with you? And so she talked about her mother-in-law, like 1 hour talking about her mother-in-law, how much suffering, how many problems. And the doctor, he came out with an idea. Let's kill the mother-in-law. Yeah, let's kill her. And I have the right way, because the daughter-in-law was the one who cooked in the house. So he gave her a little flask with something she didn't recognize. He said, be careful, you cannot ingest this. This is very poisonous. But it takes like 1 month to work. So you have to put in her food, only her food, just a little bit every single day. But one thing more, because what we were doing is very illegal and very dangerous. You have to treat her very well from now on. You have to listen to whatever she says. You have to start enjoying her presence. Yes, yes. You just pretend, you don't need to do it, just pretend. And she accepted the idea. She started to cook. Every day she was putting a little pinch of that special spice. And the mother-in-law, when she started to be, to be talking bitterly and talking about how bad is the food, how her son should choose better, etc. She was smiling. She was treating her mother-in-law even better. She was cooking what she wanted. And the mother-in-law started to share with her very precious stories about the husband, the son. So she started to learn more about her husband. And slowly and slowly, she started to enjoy the mother-in-law's presence. Of course, that's just the story. It was not a poison at all. What the doctor did was to make her see the other person by their greatness. Because even the full moon is the most beautiful thing. I used to study in a school there in Brazil, Air Force School. So there was time the full moon was huge, absolutely the huge ball there in the sky. And we could see there, we all boys, we used to go there and look at, and it was really amazing. But the same moon, few weeks later, was dark and ugly. So everyone is great if you look at them as a great person. They are. And in this way, yes, they will have different opinions than you. And yes, you are going to have a different opinions than them. But still, you can see their greatness and they will see your greatness too. And you learn that live with people who are different than you is so good. It's so good. You grow so much as a person. Okay, I think that was it. And I know I'm supposed to conduct a meditation. Let me see my own reality. Let me see my own greatness. The light I am, the great person that I am. The specialties, I'm so, so special. And let me just enjoy that beautiful energy. That light that is within me. That specialty that is there inside myself. And from that space, that safe space, let me see other people around me. And let me see the light that is inside them. I can see their images. I can hear their voices. I can appreciate that human beings so much. Even those who think different than me, I can see the light they are, their greatness. Just look, it's there. Maybe many times you have been in touch with them, you saw the dark side. So now it's the time to see their full light. And feel that pure, positive, powerful bridge that unites all of us. And no matter wherever you live, no matter what's your job, your culture, religion, tradition, you are always light. You are always special. Others are always light. They are always special every time. And in this way, whenever you express your opinion, they will be full of light. They won't hurt. And you won't feel like expressing your opinion to any person. You will respect their space too, because you are sharing light with another light. And that's really, really amazing. That's really incredible. Just enjoy. Enjoy this community of bridges, this community of lights. And let me breathe deeply. I can move my hands, my feet, and slowly I can come back slowly.